tell me a really interesting fact about you, not crypto. So Ahmed, go for it.
Okay, well, before crypto, I think I always chased hard problems. I did a PhD in physics, and I published papers in physics, engineering, computer science, neuroscience, and AI. And I think I found DeFi as my biggest challenge after doing all of that. But
Serge, tell us something interesting.
Before crypto, like before what happened with me, I was in a situation what keeps me grounded still. I was living for 1 year in the office without a shower, so I had to go to the gym for a shower. I was sleeping on the airbed, traveling around the globe and participating on the hackathons with my co-founder Anton, building different things until we have built 1 inch.
There's a guy with a mic. Are you wanting to come on? No. I didn't know if we've got someone that wants to do it. Victor, tell us something really interesting about you, not crypto.
I never shared to anyone in crypto, but before crypto, I work in in Israel for Chinese government. I'm a CCP. So
Nice.
from most centralized institution to the most decentralized world.
Wicked. And Prabal?
I don't think I have much interesting facts, but I think he mentioned a lot about the academic journey that he had. I did 4 years of research, was in a PhD program, but had to drop off. I didn't like it that much, and yeah, I mean, one fine day I realized that I'm not doing much to the world by being in that journey, at least for me.
Nice.
So,
Thank you very much for that. I'll let you guys. You can do one little intro and say. Multi-chain. Who thinks multi-chain is the future? Hands up if you think multi-chain's the future. Okay. We didn't mind a bit of a debate on this one. Anyone actually think it is going to be like one chain that is the key thing? Okay, we might get you to heckle in a minute, actually. What's your chain, by the way? Is it easy,
I think Bitcoin will basically learn from all the other ones, so we should keep building everything.
Bitcoin.
But eventually, in 200 years, we'll figure out how to
So in 200 years' time, we can all come back, revisit it to see if Bitcoin really is the daddy, that's the one that's going to... Anyone else think Bitcoin's going to take over the world? No? Take over our family's relationship? You as well at the back there, good man. Look, so guys, multi-chain. Do you agree with this young chap down there, it's Bitcoin, or do you actually think it's inevitable, it's going to happen? Ahmed?
well, I don't think so, but because, well, if you want to tokenize everything, right, you're going to compromise if you just have a monolithic approach. So I think about it like even computer architectures, like you have CPUs for general purpose computers, but for graphics or AI, we use GPUs, and you have ASICs, like specialized chips for high performance. So I think we have so many verticals, so many things to bring on-chain, and they have different requirements. So unfortunately, just a single-chain approach is going to means compromising all of these things. So I think I anticipate more specialization and multi-chain.
Prabal, you were hesitant to say it was going to be multi-chain.
Yeah,
what are you thinking, mate?
So essentially, we have to define what a chain is, right? So I think there is a lot of jargon that we throw around and we do not define it much, which creates a lot of conflict in the space. I think if it is about execution as being the key deliverable of the chain, it is never going to be a single chain, because there is no world in which a single chain can accommodate for the execution of the world. If everything is going to be tokenized, if there is going to be billions of swaps every second, then it is not possible to do all that execution on a single server. Internet has not grown that way. It has always scaled horizontally. Blockchains have to scale exactly like that. But if you are talking about, I think what he is talking about is more like a store of value and an asset class which takes over the world. That may be Bitcoin. I don't know. He is of course bullish about Bitcoin. Someone else might be bullish about something else. We will have to see whether value converges to some chain. But on our side, that's why we are building, if we can have data availability as the core primitive, and then execution can scale around it, because if you can keep the ordering constant, then there is nothing to resolve about, and execution can happen in isolation, and they can all aggregate together through ZK proofs or optimistic proofs or Ts or whatnot. So interoperability becomes much easier when there is a coherent consensus which is common to all the chains.
That's brilliant. Victor, seeming ready to talk. What do you think?
I mean, like, I think it's still not realized.
Yeah.
Everything is still like really early, but I think actually like right now the most adoption like multi-chain is the OP stack. They have a lot of. I mean, we use OP stack. All of the basically everyone using the OP stack to build the layer 2, or generally let's say EVM is the most like adopted environment, but it's still not that like interoperable. The asset is not easy to go around all around this. The problem because I talk to OP guys, they say, oh, at the beginning we just build a chain, and then right now we build the interoperable. But guys, I think you should build this interoperable at the beginning. Now it's kind of screw up. Everyone have their own custom, and they don't want to open the bridge because if open, they will take over my custom. Yeah. And I don't want that. I like my custom. I want to be the Lord. I don't want to give all my property, so I don't want to be interoperable somehow as a like layer 2. But it shouldn't be in that way.
I think I saw Serge had his hand up very quickly. I know you're a big fan. We've spoken on panels before. You might have forgotten that you've spoken with me on panels before, but we've spoken many times about multi-chain, you and Anton, actually. So I'm actually going to say, what areas do you think in particular would benefit most from multi-chain? Is it like gaming, have games on different chains? Could it even be finance? Is there something I'm missing?
So right now we see kind of swaps becoming a trend for cross-chain, multi-chain.
Yeah.
Because people need to move funds very, very fast to another chain.
Yeah.
Like if a new meme coin appears, they need to jump in Solana maybe. Yeah. So I was not able to buy Trump on Solana because I struggled to swap my Ethereum from Base to Solana, and that's why we have built Solana support and going also multi-chain, cross-chains. Gaming is kind of it's not super popular, I would say. There are some games I have seen, also on Sui, for example. But I think that the most use case is just moving funds, like values, from one blockchain to another, and it should be safe, fast, and seamless for the user.
And you do cross-chain with 1inch soon?
So yeah, we launched last September 2024 our cross-chain protocol. It is based on intent-based protocol we had already with a small extension of hashtag lock contracts. What is nothing new in the space, but no one came to the idea to combine intent-based swaps by using Dutch auction for the price finding algorithm and like hashtag locks contracts. And it works very well. I showed today to Liam Horns, this guy from ETH Global, and he said like, man, like it's incredible. He didn't expect that something like this exists already. Yeah. He asked when it will be in production. I told him like it's already since September. No one knows. So we are working to educate people to explain how does it work. Sometimes we are too early. Yeah. We are really too early with tech and need to educate.
Maybe that guy was just missing Ton. I think maybe that was the issue there.
Yeah, Ton. Like we are launching a hackathon, like live hackathon with Ethereum Global, and Ton is also on the list. Yeah, so everyone can come and do the implementation based on the reference implementation, the protocol.
I'm wondering if I grill you too much, if Ton gets taken off the list today. But like, does anyone else use 1inch Fusion or 1inch at all? Hey, we've got a few fans there and stuff like that. They actually hold very good side events. So if you ever see a 1inch side event, sign up as quick as possible to get in. Hopefully some of I went last night, hence why I'm in a nice comfortable chair rather than in the uncomfortable ones over there. So, Victor, what do you think? What areas do you think that multi-chain will benefit best?
I mean, like, as I said, like, sometimes it's like some chain don't want to go to interoperable. But if interoperable, the liquidity can come and go. Probably for some big chains, they can get bigger liquidity. I think that's actually the best benefit. And actually the most benefit is not for the layer 2 owner, but it's for the like for users. Users can go really extremely benefit. It just makes them feel build like only one chain. That's the fundamental for the trading, like as Vanyanch did. But also recently, I find the most demand right now for me is something make the interoperable on Hyperliquid, because right now deposit money on Hyperliquid is so crazy. You have to go to Arbitrum and then to Hyperliquid, kind of screw up. But it's so good trading experience, but really bad deposit withdrawal experience.
You keep nodding your head. I'm going to let you, jump in, chime in, mate.
No. So I think he is absolutely right. Like we keep talking about chain specific, but actually the problem is hitting the user and the dApp developer. Yeah. If you think about a dApp developer who doesn't, I don't know whether they're a gaming application, a finance application, a identity application, or whatever it is, they want users not specific to that chain only. Like today, we have pushed them to a corner where they have to decide whether I need to develop on a base or an Arbitrum or a HyperEVM, or a Solana or something else. But if you think about from the dApp developer perspective, they don't want to lose a single user, irrespective of where the user sits. So even if a user is using Solana, for example, the same user need to be able to use this application even if it is developed on Base or on Sophon or on Lens or whatever, right? Now, to enable that kind of usability, this is probably where a lot of these interoperability needs to come up, right? One of the major key focuses of what we are doing is also trying to help that dApp developer to not have to think about how the funds flow in, how the user actions flow in, and how can we enable it to create an ecosystem irrespective of which chain they use, right? And dApp developers choose chains based on various different metrics. I mean, some of them are about tooling, about the virtual machine, about the operation costs, maybe about grants, for example, right? Yeah. Whoever gives the biggest grant, I go and develop on it. But I do not want to stick to that TVL. That TVL of that chain might be a few hundred million or a few million, or I don't know, it might be zero. But I don't want to attract only that much amount of capital. I want to attract the entire Web3 capital, irrespective of whether it's on Ton, whether it's on Base, whether it's on Solana, whether it's on someone else.
Bonus points for saying Ton. Thank you very much. All right, you've been very quiet for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
So the title is Interoperability by Default, Designing for the Multi-Chain Future. How are you guys looking at that?
Well, for us, your previous question, I think the users benefit most, because for protocols, for applications like us, multi-chain is actually it's a cost, it's a hassle. Most protocols are trying to chase users, right? So that's because of lack of interoperability. For us as a routing engine, right, we are a DeFi routing engine, we look at it as intents and graph edges. So it's a giant graph, and currently multi-chain means that we have individual isolated graphs that are not connected very well. So for us to optimize this, we need better connectivity between these graphs so that we can navigate users, their intents between different chains.
Yeah. I really love the fact, because most of the time on these talks, we never talk about users. It's always what the user thinks, but we're actually now thinking what the user actually is trying to do there. Serge, for 1inch, do you think about the user?
For sure, yeah. We always analyze how user interact with our products. We have not just end customers who are using the app and the wallet itself, what we have also business customers as well. We have software service portal. So we actually analyze what the users from our integrators are doing, like MetaMask, Trust Wallet, Coinbase, and so on. And we try, for sure, improve the user experience. So that's why we started to experiment. And it's sometimes very painful to introduce something new. Less people understand at the beginning, and they cannot live without it. So it's no one knew that they need an iPhone before Steve Jobs came with the first iPhone, right? So, and here we introduced, for example, a unification of chains. So we are also Uniswap moving in the same direction. So our primary information in the app and the wallet is the asset. It's this like Ethereum asset, for example. And I see 10 Ethereum. if I want to exchange it, I click to it, and then as a secondary information, I get the network. So we set the asset as a primary, and it helped us to increase volumes for cross-chain swaps. But we got a little bit, we got reduced our volume for the on-chain swaps. So some people moved to, I think, CalSwap and some others, because they said like, the user experience is terrible. So we in Germany, we say you need to find a way to die. So and we decided just to try to educate people to just maybe it's like this is the way how we should interact in the future. Just think about the assets, not the network itself. So users should actually not think about the network at all.
No. And obviously you take on a lot of the feedback. You must get it obviously out here and online and yeah. Do they talk much about multi-chain users, or is it just assumed that now you support it?
So we see more people using our cross-chain swaps. So we get more usage for cross-chain. And you said, yeah, so you need to deposit into Arbitrum.
Yeah.
And then you need to deposit them in Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
Easier would be just to integrate one inch and deposit directly in Hyperliquid from any chain,
Yeah.
from any shitcoin.
That's
meme
a
coin or
really
anything.
good idea, yeah.
Yeah, no, go for it, Victor. What like designing, like how does this all fit in?
Yeah, actually, I try a bridge, like the first bridge from Solana to Tang. That was the time I think there was a good opportunity because, I know the team building this, but I think, that's why I tried the product. But I think, I saw at that time, Solana have a lot of meme coin, Tang have a lot of users, and there's a lot of synergy. But I find, these kind of things need a more but I don't know, this product somehow didn't get more sustainable DAU. But I think the idea to get more DAU, it need the whole ecosystem support these things, and or something make it as a something strategic level direction. But I think this definitely can somehow benefit the space to make this work for general user and to build some new interesting stuff. Because two group of users is different, but somehow through this product, it can get more synergy and make the money getting more efficient to use.
I'll come to you in 2 seconds, Barack. I know you're itchy. Out of the people that are still listening to us and not overdone by at the back, how many of you actually more like chain maxi? So how many of you basically use one chain about 90% of the time? And how many actually do use multiple chains multiple times? There we go. And the good news is we've got 12 people listening to us. Okay, so that is a record in these conferences. We've got 12 people.
It's our centralized exchange.
Very
users.
good, yeah. Very good. Prabal, continue on what we were talking about, designing and then the users on this. For these 12 lovely people that are listening, 13 maybe with this guy sitting down.
So I think there are mainly two classes of interrupt protocols that are right now there. I mean, he mentioned a point which is it needs more protocol support, right?
Yeah.
So there are two classes of interrupt solutions which are emerging. One is at the protocol level and one is at the application level.
Yeah.
The protocol level interrupt is what a super chain is trying to do, what an elastic chain is trying to do, what an ag layer is trying to do, what a Starkware in fractal scaling and all that is trying to do. Arbitrum through its intent protocols is trying to do. They are all at the protocol level. They want to make that all these chains which have been individually built to enforce interrupt standard on the chain level so that they can all talk to one another. The problem with this is, as he said, it kind of hinders the sovereignty of the chains. A chain is a chain because it wants sovereignty. And that is the main thesis with all the L2 space and the roll-up space in general. Like, why does a Robinhood want to launch a chain? I mean, what is that? Isn't Arbitrum one cheap enough, scalable enough, good tech enough, or a different tech? No, right? They want sovereignty over their own chain, and that is why we are seeing more and more roll-ups. So the moment you come and say, I want to enforce a rule on the protocol which you may or may not like, but you have to in order to talk to others, they will say guys, I will take my own time and to decide, right? And some of them will opt out, like what he was mentioning. But then there are others at the application level which the application developer can choose. Now you might say like, okay, you are talking too much about application developers and such, but why not talk about the users? But if you talk to the users, they are actually application-oriented users, right? They are not on the chain just for fun, right? They are not going to 1inch just because they like 1inch. They are going to 1inch because...
Also, they like us.
Yes, I was coming to that.
They give the best merch as well.
Yeah. But there is an action. There is an action that they want to perform,
of course.
for which they need some funds, for which they want to now come to 1inch because they offer the best rates and the best merch and best mind share or whatever, right? Now, the action is the most important, and that action is being controlled by that application developer.
Gotcha.
Right? So I want to actually deposit funds on Aave. I want to do something on a gaming application. I want to do something to get more yield or whatever, right? And that is my action which determines which chain the user is or goes to or bridge funds to or so on. So we need to keep on thinking about how we can attract the best applications. Then the users are going to come. And that is why something like a Robinhood is so bullish for that ecosystem, because they are going to bring in the users with them, because they are such a massive application.
I'm going to do something a bit strange here. Normally it's just a question. Does anyone? We've got 4 titans of the crypto industry there. Does anyone have any questions just to ask? And I'll jump down and shout it. Not at all. Well, you guys either are very boring or just solving all the questions that we're having there.
I would like to add something to what you
do.
said. It's very interesting that every ecosystem, like Optimism, for example, and you take a look also to EthCC, they built like own cross-chain, like own layer 2 solutions, right?
Basically, they're walled gardens, right?
Yeah, they try to cook own soup. Like Optimism is cooking own soup and say, hey, we are the super chain, but still we have Arbitrum in EthCC, and no one can connect them to them from Optimism. So actually, from my point of view, they waste money and time and energy to build like an own ecosystem cross-chain support, like cross-layer 3 support, I call them. I spoke recently also with EthCC, and they say, yeah, you're right. It's kind of like we should actually make a more global thing so we can cover any possible chain integration, cross-chain integration. So, and from my point of view, we can solve it on the application layer. Cross-chain should not be solved on
protocol layer.
Kind of low protocol level. Consensus layer should not be done. Well, I have seen on XRP Ledger, for example, they introduced exchange DAX on the consensus layer. You don't need it. You need just like applications would do this.
But I think the problem, Sergey, is like there is no incentive for most of these chains to be interoperable, right? They're just like trying to steal users and TVL from each other. So I mean, until that changes, like interoperability is a nice buzzword. Maybe you're waiting for Ethereum Foundation to work on it, but I think we need to create incentives, and it's rather than trying to steal users from one chain and hunting, getting airdrop hunters from one chain to another.
But I think, sorry to interrupt.
No, this is great. Debate away, to be honest. Do my job a little
there's
easier.
not a debate. I think the thing is that we are seeing more and more general purpose chains. Like all these chains have the same functionality. Forget the technical details. They have the same functionality. All of them need a DEX, a perp, an options protocol, a gaming, a restaking platform or liquid staking token. Like the application set is the same. The application features are the same. It's just that it's being branded as a separate chain. Like the RPCC is switching and some branding is switching, right? The more and more we see application-specific chains, the more interop will need to be there. Right now, you're absolutely correct that there is no need for interoperability. You are creating a silo, and you are trying to create the best silo that is out there, the most complete ecosystem on that same chain that can be. But the moment you start thinking that if I want to compete with Uniswap or a 1inch right now, it's going to be very hard for me, and that's why I want to make complementary things with 1inch.
Don't compete. Contribute,
right? So I want to make complementary things. I want to use 1inch. 1inch is probably doing an amazing thing on one particular ecosystem. Why don't I plug it into that? right? If that thinking comes in, more and more of this interrupt will become a need, and then better solutions are bound to come in.
The whole decentralized finance is about composability, yeah, and we should maybe stick to it and just build on top of the solutions, new solutions, and just use everyone as a partner. A good example is Odos. For example, they are building something right now on Solana on the infrastructure level and this routing. And we actually don't want to do that anymore. We have intent-based marketplace. We protect the user, and the infrastructure part can be done by best industry partner, I would say.
So, the guys has given me a high five. This is going really well. I've got a couple of minutes left. So I'm going to really introduce a topic that everyone loves to hear, but I need a really short answer. Regulation. Is it going to touch us at all? Is it going to be any issues? Really short answer. I'm going to go down and around. So, Prabal.
So I don't think it is going to be a problem because every regulation hits asset classes, and those asset classes, people know that every asset now is multi-chain. Like, there is no regulator in the space who thinks that an asset is bound to a chain. Every regulator knows that assets might be minted on one chain, but they are all multi-chain.
Victor?
I'm actually really conservative. You know, like I think the most interoperable thing right now is from US stock into on-chain. But this can create a lot of trouble. From China, from US, from any country. Like, you know, it's not joking, but everyone seems fine with it right now. But this is crazy world.
So you think this might crop up later then, this
Yeah,
issue?
yeah. I feel it can be another FTX, you know, like, because it's kind of regulated, but there's a lot of crazy things can go on-chain, and it can blow up, and another FTX happen.
So this is maybe in a few years' time on that live stream, we can play this back when it does blow up. You've predicted that, you know, like that. Sergej, are you as negative on this situation as Victor? Regulation?
Yeah, regulation. I already bought some popcorn to see what's happening with the stocks on chain with Robinhood and X stocks, right? So I have seen huge posts from Jupiter. Now you can trade securities on Jupiter Exchange. So I'm waiting and very wondering how the regulators will address this. Maybe they will adapt and we'll find a good solution because we got good traction with securities and stock on-chain. Yeah? But this is the future. The whole financial industry will move to our tech and everything will go through blockchain.
I'm going to give you 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, compliance will be baked into chains, like permissioned pools, etc. And then, so we'll be routing through, depending on the requirements, regulations, you know, a subset of the graph, right? Again, compliance within the chain, and that's how it's going to go.
Guys, thank you so much for the 15 people that was listening to here. If not, I hope you got the Wi-Fi. Give these guys a huge round of applause. We've got obviously Ahmed, Serge, Victor, Prabal. They brought the energy there, yes.
Thank you.
There we go. Enjoy it. We're going to come up on stage. And we're seeing there.